This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Hi friends, good morning. So in our today's session, we are going to see remaining RDS labs. Okay. Yesterday, what we have seen is we have seen how you can create MySQL instance, then how you can install the MySQL workbench to connect to the MySQL RDS instance. Then we have seen how you can execute basic queries on MySQL RDS instance, right? So next we have downloaded MySQL workbench, all these things from the respective links. Next, we also have created Oracle RDS instance. Then we have installed SQL Developer tool to connect to the Oracle RDS instance. And we have executed basic commands on Oracle database. Next, these are the useful links from where we have downloaded SQL Developer tool. Next, we also have created SQL Server instance yesterday. And we also installed SSMS tool to connect to the SQL Server RDS instance, right? So then we have executed basic commands. So these are the links that we have used to create to install SSMS tool. Next, finally, we also have created MariaDB RDS instance. Then we have installed dbeaver tool to connect to the MariaDB, and we have executed basic commands. So these are the useful links from where we have downloaded that particular tool, right? So finally, today we are going to see how you can create a Postgres instance and how you can install the SQL workbench. Okay, so you need to install SQL workbench. It's not a MySQL workbench, it's a SQL workbench. It's a separate tool, friends. You need to install this particular tool if you want to connect to the Postgres SQL, okay, RDS instance. Next, so once we connected, we are going to execute all these commands. So these are the useful links from where we are going to download. Once we have completed that, we are going to create today Aurora RDS instance. Then we will see how to install MySQL Workbench tool and dependencies, because if you want to connect to the Oracle RDS instance, we are going to use MySQL Workbench. This is the tool which is going to help you to connect to the Aurora RDS instance. Then you can execute basic commands. Okay, these are the useful links. So this is what we are going to do. So we have only two things pending, right? One is this Postgres SQL. Okay, so what we can do, let's go to the console here. Here you can say console.aws.amazon.com. First thing that we need to do is just click on services, come down, you can able to see RDS instance, click on that RDS service. So if you see you don't have any DB instances, click on DB instances. Okay, let's create a database. So as we discussed, standard create, easy create. Standard create means you can have a more customizations. Easy create means most of the things will go as a default. Those default values you cannot change. So that's why you need to go with the standard create, so that you can make your changes. Okay, as per your requirement, you can provide all the configuration details. So at this point in time, we are going to create a Postgres SQL instance. Next, so which version? So I'm going to select this particular version. So this version is eligible for free type, so you can select free type. Come down. So here you need to give the your Postgres SQL instance name. Okay, what you can do here, I will say Cloud Pandit iPhone. Okay, so this is the name of my instance. Come down here, you need to provide the username and a password. Okay, this is my username. If you want to have a auto generated password, you can select it. I don't want auto generated password, I will set up my own password. Then you can enter, this is the password. Okay, you can enter password. Okay, you have to reconfirm the password. Next, so as we are under free tier subscriptions, so only this particular class is eligible. Suppose if you have selected test dev or production options, then all these classes are going to be available. What is the difference between all these classes? You can see here under micro you have 1 CPU 1 GB memory, but if you come here in T2 you have 1 CPU and 2 GB memory. Here 2 CPU 4 GB memory. So as per your class increasing, okay, if you select a bigger class, then you will get more computational power and memory, CPUs, all those things. Okay, basically. So, but as we are under free tier subscription, here you need to go with the only this one. Okay, because this is the class which they are providing for free. Okay, next, come down. So under free tier, you can have a 20 GB storage, friends. So that's why I'm selecting 20 GB memory, 20 GB storage, not memory. Okay, 20 GB storage. Next. So if this 20 GB storage is increased, like filled completely, then I want to scale up my storage from 20 GB to 1000 GB. It is not going to happen at once. It is going to increase first. Once it is filled up to 20, again it will increase 10 GB extra. So that will become 30 GB. Once 30 GB filled, again it will increase 10 GB extra. So that will become 40 GB. So up to 1000 GB storage, it is going to keep on increasing, because threshold for your storage, you are mentioning 1000. As you have enabled auto scaling, what happens from 20 to 1000 GB, it will keep on increasing. It will scale up as per the as per your usage of your storage. If your storage is filled, then it will scale up to 1000 GB. Remember, if you don't want auto scaling, you can uncheck this option, but let's go with the auto scaling if you want. If you don't want, you can feel free to uncheck this. Okay, come down. So here, as we are under free tier subscription, this option is disabled. But what it is, multi-agent deployment means your instance is going to be launched in multiple availability zones. If one availability zone is not available, you will have another availability zone. Okay, very simple example, friends. We have a power station, and you are getting power from one of the power station, but that power station is not available due to some issue, maybe cyclone or something hit that particular power station. Then you will not be able to get the power, right? So that's why you need to maintain two power stations. If one power station is not available, you will have another power station. In the same way, here also you need to create this instance. You have to launch this instance in a two availability zone, so that if one availability zone is not available, you will have another availability zone. That's how your production instances will be launched, because you need a high availability for your production instances. If production instance is not available for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, there will be huge business loss. That's why we always need a multi-agent deployment for the production loads. Come down. Here I want to launch my instance under virtual private cloud, right? So VPC. So this VPC is the default VPC. If you want to create your own VPC, you can create that. Come down. Default subnet. Under VPC, if you divide VPC, you will get a subnetwork. Okay, this is also I'm using default. Next, I want to make this instance publicly accessible. Select S. Come down. Security group also I'm taking default. Leave everything default. Okay, so now click on additional configurations. Here I want to give my initial database name. Okay, initial database name I want to give as a sample DB. Okay, or else you can say PostgreSQL demo DB. Okay, demo DB. So this is, I think iPhone is not allowed. iPhone is not allowed, but this is the my initial database name. I don't need to create the database. By default, I already created a database. This is my database name. Okay, so remaining things, see, if you want to maintain backup and other things, you can keep like this. So this particular retention period, if you have deleted something, so how my last 7 days data will be always available. If you want to restore it, you can able to restore, because retention period is last 7 days data, you can able to restore it back. Okay, so if you want to send logs to the CloudWatch for monitoring, you can send all those options we have, friends. Okay, if you want to select window, suppose now my AWS wants to install some patches or something to this instance, then what time is best for you, best as per your business. Okay, so you have to give that time, but currently I don't have any preference. So as per their requirement, whenever they want to install those patches or upgrades, they can able to do it. Okay, come down, just click create database. Okay, now what I have done, friends, I have created my instance. Now I need to connect to this particular instance. How we are going to connect to this instance is by using SQL Workbench. But this SQL Workbench I don't want to install in my local machine. That's why I will create a one EC2 instance. In that EC2 instance, I will install SQL developer. From that particular SQL developer, I will try to connect to this particular instance. Clear, friends? Just let's click on EC2. But if you are installing SQL developer in your local system, that is okay. But I don't want to install anything in my local system. That's why I am using VMs for everything. So just click on that. Just click launch instances. Which instance you want to launch, friends? Windows. Okay. So select this. Select micro. This is for free. Next, I want to enable public IP enable. Click add storage. This is the default storage. Let it be. Click add tags. Here I can say this is basically what, friends? Postgres SQL-VM. Okay, so VM, click configuration settings. See, this is the port that you need to enable if you want to connect to this particular VM, not to the database. If you want to connect to this VM, you need to enable 3389. Just click review and launch. Click launch. Okay. Review means basically you need to review all the details which you have provided. Now I want to download the key. So create a new key pair. You can say Postgres VM key. Okay. Download this key pair. Yes, download and launch instance. Okay, so this instance is going to launch in few seconds. Like it will take some 2 to 3 minutes. Fine. So meanwhile, let me go here. Downloads. You can able to see Postgres, right? So this one I can take and I will keep it in keys because we are maintaining all our keys here, right? So this is the key that we need. Okay, let it be. Fine. So now we just created the Postgres SQL RDS instance. Now next thing is we need to install SQL Workbench tool, friends. Okay, remember. So there is a dependency if you want to install a SQL Workbench. The first dependency is you need to install the Java, friends. Okay, remember you need to install Java. Okay. Next thing is you also need a something called jar file if you want to connect. Okay. So let me open my new. Okay, so here you can see these are the things which with respect to Postgres. Okay. So first thing is you need to install Java. Okay, next you need to install SQL developer tool. Then you also need a something called Postgres JDBC jar file that is required if you want to connect to the Postgres SQL files. Okay, if you want to connect to that particular instance, you also need a some jar file. That jar file also we need to download. So I have everything links. So we will directly connect. Okay, so let me go here. First thing that we need to do is we need to connect to this particular VM. So for that, select this particular VM, then take the public IP, come here, open your remote desktop connection. Okay. So just to provide this IP address here, username is administrator, then click connect. So how you know username is administrator? Just select this, click connect. You can see username is administrator. So now we need to get the password. How to get the password? Click on get password. Now click browse. Okay, here you can see Postgres, right? So select this particular key, then decrypt this key to get the actual password. Select this password and provide this password here. Click OK. So now we are connecting to this particular VM. Okay, once this is available, we need to turn off the security enhancements. Then we will install Java and all other dependency things one by one. Just to hold So let's search here, server manager. Okay, double click on this. Sorry, friends. So I was in mute. So we just turned off enhancement, right? Security enhancements. Now open your Internet Explorer. In this Internet Explorer, what you need to do is, first thing is we need to install Java. Okay, how to install Java? So there is a link directly. You can select this particular link. Okay, come here and put this particular URL here. Enter. Here, so this is the official page from where you can download your Java. Okay, come down. So here you can see something called Windows 64-bit. If you want, then click on this particularly. So you can check this. Okay, check this option. You are agreeing for all the terms and conditions. Then click download. It will ask you to log in. So as we discussed yesterday, if you don't have account, you can create an account. But as I have already account, I will enter that account here. 193. Click sign in. See, it is downloading. Now what you can do, just click run. Directly you can click run. So here you can see running security scan. It is downloaded already. It is scanning security related things. Okay, click next. Welcome to the installer. Just to wait a while so that this button will be enabled. Java SC development kit 8 update to 51 setup. See this is, click next. Click next. Okay, now Java is getting installed, friends. It will install. Okay, it is finished. Close it. Second thing that we need to do is take this URL. Okay, so this is the URL SQL Workbench if you want to download. So go to Internet Explorer once again, open new tab here. So put this URL, enter. So come down here, you can see these are the latest packages. So generic packages for all systems. Click on this. Okay, If you want to save somewhere, let's save as on desktop. Let me save on desktop. Okay, so I have saved on desktop. Right click, click extract all. Click extract. So I am extracting everything on desktop. Here you can see extracted folder. You go inside this folder. Okay, so it is extracting still. Just wait a while. So once installation is finished, you can see something called here SQL Workbench 64. Okay, because we have installed 64-bit Java, so you can open SQL Workbench for 64-bit. Okay, double click on this. See, you will come here, friends. Okay, so now you need to enter the Postgres SQL instance URL here. You need to select jar file here. Okay, driver, respective driver, and username and password. Okay, so these things we need to do. Fine. So first thing, driver. How to get the driver is you need to download something called jar file. Okay, so select this URL. Go here. Open one more tab. Click on select. Okay, paste this URL. Enter. So come down, you can see something called here, right? First link. Just click on this first link. Save as. So let me save this particular jar file on my desktop. So if you see this is the jar file. Okay, what is jar file? Java archive file. So all the related Java classes will be there in this particular file. Okay, now come here. What you need to do, just click manage drivers. Click on manage drivers. Come down, you can see something called Postgres. Okay, select it. So now you need to select jar file. This is not the correct jar, right? Just click browse. So on desktop I have a jar file. What is that? Postgres. This one. Click open. Then see, this is the URL. As you have selected this file, respect to class name is this is the main class for this jar. Okay, now this is the URL that you need to remember. Copy this. Okay, I just copied. I'm just clicking OK. So when you click OK, okay, it is not coming. Just click here. Come down. You can see something called Postgres. Okay, see, very simple, friend. Just click first manage drivers. Here you need to select library. Okay, the jar file. Then click OK. If it is selected Postgres, that is fine. Otherwise, by default, it will be there here. Okay, by default, it will be there here. So that's why you need to change this one to Postgres. Here, come here. And URL, you need to make the changes. So first thing is you need to enter host name. What is host name? How to get that host name is go here, go to RDS instance. This is the instance. Click on that instance. Come down. You can see this is the host name. Okay, copy this. See, I'm just entering my host name here. Okay. Next. So colon port something, you have port. What is port? Is 5432. Remember, port number is 5432. Where you can see here, you can see 5432. Next, click on configuration. Come down, you can see DB name is this is the DB name, right? Take this. Come here, set the last name of database. Remove this and put your actual DB name. Okay, now I need to give username. This is my username. This is my password. Okay, let's test the connection. So what it is saying, friends, connection to this particular instance is successful. Okay, now click OK. Okay, so now click on this particular tools, click show database explorer. See, you don't have any databases here. See, it is not showing any, like it is not showing any tables or databases, right? Come here, I will tell you. So you need to create a table. Let's create a table. Hello, can you hear me now, friends? Praveen, can you hear me now? Devashish.
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes,
Just the network disconnected, friends. Okay, fine. So we were here, right? Previously, were you able to follow till here, friends? Where we lost? Where you lost audio? After connected to the instance or before we connect to the instance?
We have connected.
Praveen? Okay, we connected, right? So fine. See, we have connected, friends. Now, if you click on these tools, if you click on storage, show database explorer, see, it is not showing any tables databases here, right? But if you come back to statements one, okay, here I want to create a table. Let's create a table. Create table, cust, cid int, cname, var, something 50. Now I want to execute. This is the execution button. Click on this. What it is saying, table cust created. So, but now if you click on these tools, click on show databases, it is not going to show you again. Okay, come back to statement one. Now for everything you need to execute something called commit. Okay, select this, click run. So commit executed successfully. Now if you click on tools, show database explorer, it is not showing. 1 second. Click on public. Okay, select none. Select only tables. See, cust table it is showing. Okay, cust table under public schema. Okay, it is showing, friends. Okay, come back now. So commit is required for every statement. Okay, remember in Postgres. Now I want to insert some data. How to insert? Insert into cust values one. Okay, SAM. Okay, two. Okay, so these two, just select these two lines, run it. See, two rows affected. Let's see what is the data we have. Select star from first. Select this line and run it. You'll be able to see these two. Now if you want to execute, if you want to update some record, how to update cust set cname equal to let's say Sammy, where cid equal to 1, because if you are not using this condition, by default cname column itself, entire cname column, it will modify to Sammy, right? So Sam, Janu, so all these things it will change to Sammy, right? So that's why I'm just putting some condition where you have a customer ID equal to 1, where it is matching that particular row, you change cname from Sam to Sammy, something like that. Okay, select this line and run it. Okay, so update cust successful, one row affected. Okay, now select this line and run it. So you can see it has changed Sammy. Okay, so this is how you can able to update. Now if you want to delete, very simple, delete from cust. So do you want to delete everything? Then it will delete everything. I don't want to delete everything. I want to delete only second record, cid equal to 2. Okay, now you can run it. See, one row affected. Now let's see what is the data we have in this customer table. Run it and see. So you have only one record. So this is how you will be able to do. Okay, friends. But now what you can do, let's create one more table. Create a table. Okay, table cust one cid in customer location, maybe customer name, we can say customer name and customer location, person and his location. Okay, so this is my cust one. Okay, custom selected. So this is fine. Now just click on tools, click show database explorer. See, it is showing only this one. So if you select this table, it is going to give you full information. So which columns we have, what is the data type. If you click on data, so it is going to show you the data. Okay, but there should be some data, right? It is showing this. Yeah, can you tell me why it is showing this? Because we have not executed commit, right? So let's execute commit. So whatever we have executed as of now, everything will be committed. Okay. Now click on tools, click show database explorer. Okay, now refresh these things. See, cust one also came. Cust, select cust. So these are the columns. Click data. See, one record, because we have deleted one record, but one record we have. So cust one, we have not inserted any data, that's why it is not going to show anything, but columns are C name and C location, everything you can able to see here. Okay, so this is how you are going to create Postgres instance. Okay, then you are going to install the SQL developer tool and you will connect and execute queries and explore all these things, friends. Okay, where you are going to see all the tables, table information, all those things you can verify like this. Okay, any doubts here? Okay, so fine. So that's all for Postgres. Let me close this particular VM. Okay, we are done with the first things, friends. What we have done, so we have created an instance, we have installed the SQL workbench tool, and we have connected to the Postgres SQL from SQL workbench. Then we have performed the basic queries, right? So these are the useful links which we have used to install the Java and to download the required jar files and SQL workbench tool. Okay, fine, this is fine, right? So now friends, now we are going to see how to create Aurora RDS instance. Okay, how to create Aurora RDS instance. So RDS Aurora lab is, so basically we are going to create Aurora RDS instance. Let's see how to create it. Okay, so go to Chrome, like one second. Okay, come here, just click on services, come down, go to RDS instances, RDS service. Okay, so click on DB instances. We have a this one. Now we will create Aurora instance, right? So just click create database. So Aurora is a just basically it's a cluster, friends. Under cluster you can have a multiple databases. That is up to you how many databases you want to maintain. So standard create and easy create, as we discussed, standard create means you will have a more customization. Easy create means most of the configuration it will take it as a default, so it will be easy for you to create. That's why this name is easy create. Next, Aurora instance, select Aurora instance, come down. So Aurora is compatible with two things. One is MySQL, it is compatible with MySQL, it is compatible with Postgres SQL compatibility. Okay, you have both the things, but so why we need when we have MySQL and Postgres SQL is Aurora is, you will have a more replicas you can maintain, and you can maintain instance in a multiple regions. Not only two, you can maintain in this instance, you can maintain in 3 availability zones. It will give you better performance if you compare with MySQL and Postgres SQL. Okay, so that's why people will prefer Aurora, but Aurora is specific to AWS. This particular service is available only in AWS. Okay, but other services like SQL Server, these things even you can create in other cloud providers. Next, so version. So this is the version I'm selecting. Region means you are going to launch this particular instance in one particular region. Okay, this Aurora instance you are going to provision or launch only in a single AWS region. Remember, if you are selecting global means, you are going to maintain this particular instance in multiple availability zones. Okay, in a multiple regions, basically not availability zones, multiple regions. We have seen, right, under one region you will have a multiple availability zones, but if you select this you will have all the instance will be there in a one region. If you go with global, your instance will be there in a multiple regions. So that's how you can provide high availability. Next, so Aurora is not free, friends. You need to make a payment. So this particular instance is, you cannot get it for free for practice and all. So that's why I will make a small payment by selecting dev/test. Okay, next, so this is the name of my instance. I need to give the name of my instance. What you can do is cloud Pandit Aurora DB, Aurora cluster, you can say. Okay, come down here, you need to provide the username and password. Let's provide username and password. So this is my user, this is my password. Okay, as we know already. come down. Here you can see if you want to enable any encryption for your DB cluster, you can enable encryption. So yes, default value is enabling encryption. Let it be, no issue. We can maintain the encryptions. Next. So this is basically if you're going with memory optimized classes, it will be large classes, because if you see 32 GB, 16 GB, 488 GB, 128 GB, these are very costly. These are very costly, friends. Okay, large, extra large, all these things. You see, you don't have any small instance, right? So I cannot afford this much. So that's why we will go with the not memory optimized. We will go with the other things. Okay, select memory optimized. Okay, let's select the region here. So if you select region, we will have a something. Yeah, so you just select region, because if you go with global, we will have only memory optimized classes. It will be very costly. That's why let's go with the region here. So when you select region and global, see there are options are getting changed, right? So when you select global, it is not showing whether how many reads you want, how many writes you want, all those options it is not showing. But when you select region, it is showing, see, one write and multiple readers, you want multiple writers, you want serverless. So when you will go with one write and multiple readers is example, if you see when I upload one video into my YouTube channel, multiple people are going to watch. Only one time I will upload, but one time I will write, but many times people are going to read it. Okay, in those cases you need to go with this option. Multiple writers means, example, if you go with Facebook, right, people are going to keep on posting and writing something, so that is keep on writing. In that case you need to go with multiple writers. So serverless means you don't know how many people are going to read, write, and how many so traffic, how many people are going to access this particular instance, then you need to go with the serverless. Okay, uh, when you don't know how many people are going to hit your instance, then you have to go with the serverless. Basically it's a unpredictable workloads. Unpredictable means you are not able to estimate how many people are going to hit your instance. In that case you need to go with the serverless. But what I am going is I will go with one write and multiple readers. So under this, as I said, right, even you select region or global, doesn't matter. You will have only production and dev test options, but you will not have a pre-tier option. Let's select dev test. Now I need to give the instance name. What I will do here, Aurora DB Pandit Aurora cluster. Okay, so this is username, this is my password. Come down here, you see memory optimized classes and bursted classes. Okay, memory optimized classes are, if you see, right, here everything is large, you don't have anything small, right? So that's why I don't want to go with memory optimized. I will go with the burstable classes. Here you can say small, medium, everything will be available. Okay, let's go with the small. Okay, so it is very less cost, that's why I'm going with the small. Next, so do you want to, as it is not free tier, right? See, multi-agent deployment is enabled now. So do you want to maintain a multiple copies, then you have to go with the create an Aurora replica or read node in a different agent. So you are maintaining a another copy in another availability zone for high availability. But currently I don't want this. Okay, I don't want this, because as you are creating more instances in a
Malaya, can
different
you please
availability
change
zones, you need to
username?
make it.
C is missing. Just
Wait. Oh, thank you. Okay, Aurora cluster. Come down. So username, password, and this is the class I am selecting. Multi-agent I am not selecting, because as this is for my practice, I don't want to launch it in a multiple availability zone. If you launch it in a multiple availability zone, you will get high availability, but you need to make a more payments, right? So cost will increase. So this is the default VPC. Uncheck this. So default subnet. I want to make this instance publicly accessible. Select S. Okay, this is the default security groups and availability zone, in which availability zone you want to launch, all those things you have. This is the port number. Click on additional configurations. So this is your initial DB. Okay, here whatever name you have given, right, this is your cluster name. Okay, Aurora cluster. So come down here. Okay, here. So you can have a one in identifier, friends. What it is? DB instance. So what you can do? Aurora DB. So I will say this is Aurora DB. My initial database in this is sample. My database is sample. I am creating a sample database in it. Okay. Cluster parameters, all those things are default. You cannot change anything here. Okay. So as per your version, you need to these things will come automatically. You don't need to worry about that. So backup. Suppose if you want to maintain last 7 days backup, you can say 7 days, or if you want only last 1 day backup, you can maintain last 1 day backup. So if you want to maintain any encryptions, all those things, backtrack means suppose when data is corrupted, you want to go back to 2 days or 3 days and you want to restore data. Last 72 hours data you want to maintain. Maybe you want to go back to last 24 hours or last 48 hours, you can go back and restore your database. So all those options are common for all the databases. Okay. So if you want any logs, if you want to send it to the CloudWatch, you can enable those things. Okay, as we discussed, right, maintenance window, suppose any upgrades or patches wants to install on this particular instance, so when will suitable for your for you as per your business, so you have to give that particular time. Currently, as this is for practice, I don't want to set any preference. Just click create database. Okay, see now what happened here, friends. So this is the cluster, this is the DB, remember. So that's why I have given here clearly Cloud Pandit Aurora cluster. This is Aurora DB. Okay, under cluster you will have multiple databases. Okay, remember, friends. So now if you see these two are creating, you need to wait a while to connect to this particular instance. But how you are going to connect to this Aurora instance is you need to install a MySQL workbench, because this is compatible with MySQL, right? Aurora compatible with MySQL DB, a MySQL instance, that particular cluster we have created. So here you need a MySQL workbench to connect to this particular instance. For that, I want to install a MySQL workbench. Where I'm going to install MySQL workbench is I don't want to install in my local machine. For that, I will create a one more EC2 instance. Click launch instance. Okay, here you can select Windows, select it. Okay, this is the micro instance configure. So let me enable public IP, click add storage, default storage, add tags. This one I can give name as Aurora VM. Okay, so click configuration settings. So this is the RDP port we need to enable if you want to connect to the VM, not to the Aurora DB instance. If you want to connect to VM, we need to enable 3389. Click preview launch, click launch. So let's create a new key. So this key name I can say Aurora VM key. VM key. Okay, let's download this key, save it, come down and launch this instance. Okay, so click on this. Okay, click on this. So that will come up, but let's go and get our key. Where is our key? Our key will be here, Aurora key VM, right? So you can cut it, go to keys and keep this key here. I kept this key here. Now what we have done, friends, we have created Aurora RDS instance. Now we need to install MySQL Workbench tool and dependencies. So how we will install MySQL Workbench and dependencies is we have this is the dependency software VC++ 2015 we need to install before we install MySQL Workbench. So that's why first I will install this particular dependency, then I will install this one. Now let's go to the VM here. See, this is filter applied. Just uncheck, so you'll be able to see all the VM. So we need to connect to this Aurora VM. Select that Aurora VM, then click. This is the public IP. So then you can also select this, click connect. You can see here something called username. Username is administrator. Okay. Now how to connect to this VM is come here. select the remote. Okay, enter remote desktop. Okay, here I need to change the IP address. This is my IP address. I need to get the username. How to get the username is select this VM, click connect. This is the username. Okay, come here and put that username here, click connect. Now you need to get the password, right? So how to get the password? So again, go to this particular, where we need to go is select this VM, click connect. You got the username. Now click get password, click browse. So Aurora, where is Aurora? Aurora VM key. Okay, select that key, decrypt this password. You will get a actual password. Okay, take that password, put it here, click OK, click yes. Okay, let's wait a while. Okay, let's search for server manager. Okay, double click on that. Click local server. Click this enhance security configuration. Click on this, turn off this, click OK, come down, remove this. Okay, close this particular window. Okay, fine. Whether it is closing or not doesn't matter. If possible, you can close it, otherwise leave it. Okay, now open your Internet Explorer. Click on this. So what we need to do, go here. First thing is we need to download the dependencies. Take this dependency, come here. Okay, so remove this and put this URL, enter. Come down. Okay, just click on the 64-bit. Okay, click or not. Directly you can run it. You don't need to save. The software is not required. This exe file you can run directly. Okay, agree the license and license terms and condition. Install it. Okay, so this is installed. Now we need to install the MySQL Workbench. Take this URL here, put these things here, enter. So come down, click download, click no thanks, just start my download. Okay, directly click run. So now we are going to install MySQL Workbench. Click next, 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 install it. Just click finish. So that is finished. Now what you need to do is go to this particular RDS instance. So here, right? So you need to connect. You want to write, right? If you want to write, just click on this. So DB, come down. You can able to see this is the URL. Okay, take this URL. Okay, come here inside. Now MySQL Workbench is installed. Okay, it will open like this once it is installed. Just click plus mark. Then here you have to say this is Aurora connection. So I'm just putting here name of your connection is Aurora connection. So what is your host name? Just now we have copied our endpoint. Endpoint is nothing but this one. Okay. So just select this DB and you will get an endpoint. That endpoint I entered here. Okay. Now port is 3306. If you don't know port, you can see here port 3306. That port will be taken automatically. Username is whatever username and password you have given at the time of creating this instance. Click store in mode. You need to enter password also here. Click OK and test connection. Successfully made the MySQL connection. Now just click OK. Okay. Now click on this connection. It will open a window. If you remember, we have created a sample database where you can check, where you can see that. Go to schema, click on schemas. You can see this is the sample DB. In this, do you have any tables? It is not showing any tables. Now, first thing is just click here so that this window will be closed. First thing is let's create a table. How to create? So before create a table, you have to tell you have a sample database. Do you want to use this sample database? Yes, you have to tell use sample. Use sample means sample DB. Okay, run it. Okay, use sample DB is fine. Under that, under sample DB, I want to create a table. Create table cast cid int cname varchar. If you want to comment it, you can comment it. Okay, now you can execute. See, create table cast is created. Now you just click on this. This is the refresh button. If you expand this table, see you can able to see cast. Okay. Now if you want to create, if you want to insert data, how to insert? Same, insert into cast values 1 John 2 7. Okay. Now select this to run it. See, 2 rows inserted. Let's check whether 2 rows inserted or not. How to do that, friends? How to check that? Select star from first. Run it. So you are able to see these 2 records. Okay, fine. Now let's update some record. How to update? Update cast cname equal to from John to Johnny. I want to change to Johnny. So do you want to make changes for all the column data, or you want to make a change for particular row? So for particular row where cid equal to 1. So now you can run it. So sorry, here you need to say set cname equal to Johnny. Okay, select this and run it. Okay, so what it is saying, friends, you are using safe update mode. You try to update a table without this particular thing. So first thing, you can try it like this. Click on edit, click on preferences, click on SQL editor, come down. You can uncheck this option. Click OK. Okay, now you can try to execute it. I think still we are getting error. So yesterday what we have done, friends, we have used some one thing we have used, right? What is that? Set SQL safe update equal to 0. Let's execute it. Okay, so this is the command you need to execute. Now you made this particular save commands to 0 means this is okay. You are allowing these updates and deletions. Okay, now if you execute this update query, this is working. Okay. Now I want to delete it. Let's check after update whether that record is updated or not. You can check it. See, John to Johnny, it has updated. Fine. Now I want to delete that Johnny record. How to delete? Delete from cast where CID equal to 1. Select it, click execute. See, delete from cast where CID equal to 1 is completed. Now let's select this and run it. We'll see what is the data. C2 SAM, one first record got deleted. Fine. This is fine. Now I want to create a new database. Okay. What I wanted to do is I want to create a new database itself. Okay. So how you are going to do? Come down. Here you can see create database. Create database. Cloud Pandit demo. Run it. See, create database Cloud Pandit demo. It is not showing here because we have not refreshed. Click refresh. See, you are able to see Cloud Pandit demo. So you don't have any tables. If you want to create any table under this DB, just say use this particular DB, and I want to create table. Okay, test table. So you can say, or you can say employee table EID equal to int ename equal to var 50. Var 50. Now you need to put semicolon here as you are going to execute two statements at once. So select these two things and run it, friends. See, done, right? Now if you refresh, you will be able to see table under Cloud Pandit DB. Okay, so this is the basic of when we are creating cluster and initial database, we have created a DB, sample DB, but now we have created Cloud Pandit demo DB as well. So that is depends on requirement. You can create as many DBs as you want. Okay, friends, clear? So what we have done here is, one second. Okay, we have seen how to install MySQL Workbench tool and dependencies, how to connect to the Aurora from MySQL Workbench, and we have seen how to perform all these queries on the particular tables. Okay, clear, friends? Okay, that's all for today, friends. Thank you.